Shalom, shalom, Israel. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto YAHAWAH, SHAMAIWAN, ZABAWALAN, the elders, the apostles, great millstone, and shalom to my YAHAWAH who are diligently waiting to be delivered from this final captivity. This is Brother Kawak coming true with another lesson. Daniel chapter 12, verse 9, and he said, "Go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed till the time of the end." Okay, so basically, today's lesson is going to be on the mysteries of the Bible, as well as there are going to be some scriptures, or not necessarily scriptures, but some things in the Bible that are just not going to be easily accessible. Now, the inspiration to do this lesson comes from this video that I'd seen, where this Edomite looking dude, I'll say Edomite looking, said some things that I thought was very interesting. All right, given the actual context and how I would actually agree with them. All right, now let's let the video play so you can hear her.
I believe that Moses really existed.
No,
But I'll give you an example. I don't believe Job really existed.
okay.
I believe that the book of Job is a parable like the parables of Jesus. It's an inspired parable to teach a lesson.
Teach you lesson.
There, perfect. He said it very simply, plainly, and whatnot. So now, the thing about this is, I'm very surprised at that, because the thing is that I've actually been in a conversation where someone has used Job. Let me just get it first. Someone has used Job to kind of say like, okay, well, look, Job was not an Israelite. He was an Edomite, so that's why the Lord is for everyone now, and that's wrong. Okay, that goes against the scriptures, and that would mean that YAHAWASHI is a liar. All right, so let's first get into Job. Job chapter 1 from the top. There was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared Yahweh and eschewed evil. Now, the thing is that I'm gonna let me see this. Land of Uz. I think is Edomite? Yeah, so land of Uz is an Edomite is an Edomite place. So that would mean that Job was potentially, keyword potentially, an Edomite. But at the same time, the thing you have to understand is that even if Job was, or Job looked like an Edomite, that doesn't necessarily mean that he was an Edomite. Because the thing you have to remember is that Israel is scattered and was scattered among all nations of people. So as a result of that, there can be an Israelite that looks like an Edomite, or looks like a Moabite, or looks like a Ishmaelite, whatever, and is actually just an Israelite. And let me just prove this first. Psalm 147 verse 20, verse 19. He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He hath not dealt so with any nation, and as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord. So over here, you see that people say that, okay, well, Job, he was an Edomite, so that means that the Lord is for everyone. But no, that's not the case. And once again, you would have to basically admit that you would have to basically say that the Bible is lying, or the Bible is wrong, or whatever, if you're going to go with the fact that Job was a full-fledged Edomite. All right, because that's just wrong. That's not how the scriptures work, because the Lord had never dealt with the Edomites, and he never dealt with the other nation, any nation outside of Israel. All right, so once again, that goes to show that there is, well, Slakia, first off, I do agree, or not necessarily agree. I'll say the potential, because I'm not fully. I'll say yes, I do agree. I do believe that Job was a parable. All right, a parable, and showing a lesson, in demonstrating a lesson. All right. Now, basically continuing on. Yes, there's going to be times where people are not going to fully understand or fully get the comprehension of the scriptures, and there are times like this where it's only now, where in recent years, Slakia, and more specifically in recent years, that people are starting to understand or wake up to this truth, and that is the Israelites that are more so, that have the primary understanding of the scriptures. Well, which I will say there are maybe a few Christians that are starting to study a bit more compared to 30 plus years ago, where it wasn't as common for them to actually go into scriptures that I knew. Well, I'll say 20 plus years ago, where it wasn't as common for them to actually get into some of these more biblical prophecies and whatnot, or more of these who are the Israelites, who is YAHAWASHI for, who is he coming to save and whatnot. All right, so as a matter of fact, let me get that as well. No. Ecclesiastes chapter 8, Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse Ecclesiastes chapter 4 verse 1. So I returned and considered all the oppression that are done under the sun, and behold, the tears of such were oppressed, and they had no comforter. And on the other side of the oppressors there was power, but they had no comforter. So the oppressors, they have no comforter. They have no one to comfort them. They have no one to protect and deliver them and all that stuff, because they are the oppressors. All right, this is the thing where we have our comforter, which is YAHAWASHI. All right, which they are not present because we're going through captivity, we're going through punishment right now, but they're basically on their way. But for Esau Edom, they have no comforter, simply because they are the oppressed, and they basically have no equivalent to YAHAWASHI on their side. All right, so once again, like, this whole thing with the whole Job stuff, where it is a parable. All right, definitively I have to say, to be a bit more official, yes, Job is a parable. He is a man of the land of Uz. All right, and the things that the Lord use this as an example. Use this as an example for a lesson of, it doesn't matter how terrible things get. You still have to just have faith, and that faith that you have in the Lord is going to reward you at the end. It's going to give you way more than you can ever have imagined and wanted. Okay, call on I just thought of something. Slacky. Anyway, continuing on. Let's see. We read that. Yeah, let's continue on to the next one. Here's another example of a parable in the scriptures. Luke chapter 16 verse 19. There was a certain rich man which was clothed in purple and fine linen, and fared sumptuously every day. And there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, which was laid out of his gate full of sores. Now, I'm pretty sure most people know about this, but we're going to keep on going. Verse 21, and desiring to be fed with crumbs which fell from the rich man's table, moreover the dogs came and licked his sores. Now this was this is a parallel of Lazarus being us, the Israelites, and the rich man being Esau Edom. And this is in the sense of we are the poor, we are eating basically crumbs, we're living off of crumbs and whatnot. I don't know if you've ever had to make, if you've ever been poor, you've always have to make a meal off of $20, $10, whatever, just going somewhere and stuff like that, trying to cut corners and trying to make the most out of stuff like that. That's the type of lifestyle that Israel as a whole has had to live off of. And continuing on, verse 22, and it came to pass that the beggar died and was carried by the angels into Abraham's bosom. The rich man also died and was buried. And in hell he lift up his eyes, being in torments, and seeth Abraham afar off, and Lazarus was in his bosom. Now over here it says that the rich man was in hell. Now the thing about this is how we further know that this is a parable, because there is no literal hellfire, okay, as I'm about to prove in the scriptures. Because the thing about hellfire is that people think, or people have this misunderstanding where, oh well, Lord Yahweh is going to put someone in hell for forever, basically, whatever. I don't know how the thing goes. I forgot, but basically they're going to be put them over for a lifetime of bad, let's say, at worst, okay, the optimal way. Like they say someone lived 100 years being a demon, okay, like literally from a child, from the time that they were born, they were bad, all the way up to the day that they died at 100 years old, they were also bad. And the Lord's gonna put them in hell for forever, okay. Like the punishment doesn't fit the crime, okay. That's not how the Lord gets down, all right. So as a result of that, this is how people also take this parable, because this is a parable, all right, in order to say that, okay, well, this is how hellfire goes in, and when you're in heaven, you're going to be, you're with Abraham and whatnot and stuff like that, all right. Now continuing on, verse 23, and in hell he lift up his eyes, being in torments, and seeth Abraham afar off, and Lazarus in his bosom. And he cried and said, Father Abraham, have mercy on me, and send Lazarus, that he may dip the tip of his finger in water, and cool my tongue, for I am tormented in this flame. But Abraham said, Son, remember that thou in thy lifetime receivest thy good things, and likewise Lazarus evil things, but now he is comforted, and thou art tormented. Okay, so this is where you have that whole paradox, I guess you want to call it that, where though all the bad stuff that we're going through, as a matter of fact, let me get that precept. 2 Corinthians chapter 4 verse 16, for which cause we faint not, but though our outward man perish, yet the inward man is renewed day by day. For our light affliction, but which is but for a moment, worketh for us a far more exceeding eternal weight of glory, while we look not at the things which are seen, but the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal. This is a perfect, and this parallel with Lazarus is a perfect example of that, where Esau, the rich man got to thrive and enjoy the temporary blessing, the temporary wealth, whereas Lazarus, he was suffering, and his suffering, being so poor, being sick and all that stuff, led to him receiving comfort through his comforter. All right, basically represented through Abraham. All right, and in that same thing where we are, as the scriptures say, we are, as we go through this affliction, which is being called light, because comparatively the blessing that Yahawadah has for us is going to be way better. All right, we are going to be receiving way better in terms of wealth. We're going to have more wealth than our counterparts. We're going to be having more wealth than we could ever imagine and dream of, that will last forever. It's not going to be anything that we could ever lose. All right. Now, hold on. Let me get this first. I'll break this down, and then we'll end off with this. Matthew chapter 5 verse 22. But I say unto you that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment, and whosoever shall say to his brother Raka shall be in danger of the council. But whosoever shall say thou fool shall be in danger of hellfire. So now let's actually go to the Blue Letter Bible of hellfire, and over here it says hell, G1067 Gehenna. All right, Gehenna, and I did a lesson on this before. Gehenna is It's Gehenna, right?
Strong's G 1067. Gehenna. Gehenna.
Yeah, Gehenna. All right. And over here, the definition: hell is a place of the future punishment called Gehenna, or Gehenna of fire, that was originally the valley of Hinnom, south of Jerusalem, where the filth and dead animals of the city were cast out and burnt, a fit symbol of the wicked and their future destruction. Okay, so basically it's representative of a physical place. Well, Nasaki, it is a physical place. It's saying over here that it's south of Jerusalem, which is, Jerusalem is not a spiritual place, it is a physical place. Okay, they're saying south of the valley of Hinnom, south of Jerusalem, where they toss basically trash and dead animals over there to be burnt. Okay, and in that, on that same token, that the modern day Gehenna, all right, is going to be Babylon, in the sense of the nuclear missiles coming over here and burning this place up, all right, which we will be saved out of it. All right, so as a result of that, this is what that hellfire is. This is what it's coming to our enemies. All right. Now, to end things off, Matthew chapter 13, verse 9, who hath ears to hear, let him hear. And this is basically in reference to if you're able to actually receive the thing, if you have been blessed with the ears to be able to comprehend and to hear and to listen to the words of Yahawadah, and that's when you should be listening. Verse 10, and the disciples came and said unto him, why speakest thou unto them in parables? He answered and said unto them, because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. And there are going to be people that are not going to be able to understand all the mysteries, all right, but it's not going to be given to everyone to understand all the mysteries. It's only given to the elect, okay, specifically the elect, to understand and to know all the mysteries, all the prophecies, everything. So with that, I pray this lesson was edifying. I'm going to give all honor, glory, and praises unto YAHAWAH, BASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BASHAM, RICANS, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, Abad, Rabal, and Shalom.